I labored for 4 days. I ended up having an emergency C-section. I had a super unwanted visitor show up at the hospital. Girl, I hope you're sat for the story time. I want to start this video just by saying it is most definitely all tea, all shade. Because genuinely, what the actual F was my labor experience? For context, I was induced at 37 weeks and 4 days due to preeclampsia. My blood pressure was super crazy. I was gaining weight like crazy, super swollen. I was advised by my OB to go to labor and delivery triage because of the symptoms that I was having. I was admitted on Thursday around 3 o'clock and was started on a transvaginal Cervidil shortly after. Very quickly after I was admitted into my room, I was started on medication to speed up the process. I was advised by many doctors that the induction process could potentially take up to 45 days, so I was getting comfy. First medication that they gave me wasn't necessarily going to dilate me per se, but the intention was more so to soften my cervix. I want to point out that I did not have an epidural up until the very last day, which was Sunday of my labor, because of the fact that I couldn't get up and I couldn't eat. And since they told me that the process was going to be so long, I didn't want to not eat for that long. The Cervidil that they gave me had to be in for 12 hours, and every 4 hours they would come in and do a cervical check to see how far along I was or if I made any progress. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the more that they checked me, the more that it hurt. For some reason, I thought the more they did it, the more my body was going to get used to it. No, the more my body was like, enough. Stop this. So after the 12 hours of my Cervidil were done, they noticed that I only was like 1 centimeter dilated, and they decided to start me on Mesotech, which is essentially like these 2 little tablets that I had to like dissolve in the back of my mouth. They could only give me 6 doses of that, and I could only get it every 4 hours. So I ended up doing all 6 doses. I didn't really progress for like the first 4 checks, but like the last 2, I feel like that's really when I made some progress. As walking up and down the hallways, I was put into so many weird positions, which I'm literally going to show you guys here, but I had a lot of hope that I was going to be able to still deliver vaginally because they kept telling me that these kind of inductions would take a long time. False hope, you may say. So I want to emphasize on Saturday, I again was admitted on Thursday. I ended up giving birth on Sunday, but on Saturday I really feel like that was my worst day because that's when I got to 4 centimeters dilated, and call me a wuss, I don't care. Those contractions were so painful. While they did all my cervical checks, we also found out that I had like a posterior cervix, which I guess just means that it's in your back. So instead of feeling all my contractions in the front, it just really felt like a heavy period, but like the true pain of it was right in my back. And I don't know if you guys know, but hospital beds are so uncomfortable. So that mixed with the contraction pain, killer cocktail right there. So while I'm going through all this, thankfully I can still eat, I can still go to the bathroom, all that. Just there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of waiting, there's a lot of pain, a lot of comforting. Now that I'm thinking about like what to say, I just realized I didn't really give you guys enough context to understand this next part that I'm gonna say. But there were certain individuals that were being super inappropriate towards my husband and towards me as well, but like more towards my husband, with text messages that they were sending him throughout this entire process. That just added like an unnecessary, I guess, like weight to the room. I don't even want to necessarily say like weight to the room. It was another thing on his mind that he was stressing about, on top of, is my wife okay? Is the medication working? Is our baby okay? So after I'm done with my meso, I've had 6 doses. They tell me we're gonna do the transvaginal Cervidil one more time. Mama, white flag, I'm giving up. But I was like, no, I really want to do this. I really want to deliver vaginally. Let's do it. They put it in. Again, that has to be in me for 12 hours. So this was on like Saturday afternoon, like around 4 o'clock. They checked me on Sunday morning, and I'm 5.5 centimeters dilated. Thankfully, my doctor said, let's start you on Pitocin. We are satisfied with your progress, which I don't know if you guys know, but Pitocin is like supposed to boom, boom, boom. It's supposed to jack up that shit. It's like supposed to just start going super fast after that. So I decided now is the time I want my epidural. I guess throughout all the waiting, throughout the unnecessary family drama, not from my family, again, all tea, all shade, throughout all the cervical checks, throughout everything, I completely forgot that an epidural could potentially be painful. It's 4 a.m. I have my wonderful nurse, Sonia. Mama, I will never forget you. And I have my husband. They're each holding one of my hands. I feel the little numbing needle. Light work, no reaction. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it was specifically my anesthesiologist, but when he put that epidural in my back, another moment of silence for that, please. That was so effing painful. Holy crap. I don't know if he just didn't let the numbing cream actually like move around and get situated as long as he was supposed to, because I felt the numbing needle and then bam, no time in between to wait. There was tears coming out of my eyes. Yeah, I know my nurse felt bad for me. That's why I love her. She was being so comforting. She was like, it's okay, mama. It's okay, mama, you got this. And in my head, I'm like, no, I fucking don't. But thankfully, not even 5 seconds after, I felt nothing. And it was shortly after that they ended up breaking my water because I was progressing well. And after they broke my water, they noticed that every time I would have like a really strong contraction or even just like a little contraction, my baby would react very negatively to it. They like sat me up on the bed and I just started throwing up. I was like, no, I'm gonna throw up. I don't know if I just felt dizzy. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I am gonna throw up. I hadn't eaten, I think, in like 16 hours. So it was more of like a dry gagging kind of thing. It was so painful. It was so terrible. I did not like it. After that is when my baby started having very negative reactions to my contractions, and the Pitocin essentially just makes them stronger and makes everything happen faster. And I was only like, I think 6 centimeters dilated at that point. All of a sudden, the nurse is telling my husband to like push a red button, and a bunch of nurses came running in. They were moving me from side to side. They put an oxygen mask on my face. They were telling me about C-sections and what that process looks like. And that's kind of when we figured out like, okay, this is gonna end in a C-section. Like, this is what's happening. It was honestly very nerve-wracking. So I say my goodbyes to everyone. Everyone's crying. I don't do well in those situations. I like genuinely laugh when shit is hitting the fan. Why are you guys crying? Like, what's happening? It was in fact very serious. And I think at that moment I did not realize what was happening and like what a C-section actually meant. If I would have known now what I know about what a C-section feels like and the recovery of it, I would have been on the floor crying. I'm over here like, no, Abuela, don't cry. Mommy, don't cry. I would have been crying. Overall, that experience was amazing. It was when I got to my actual like post-surgery recovery room that I had to be in for like 2 hours. That's when shit started hitting the fan. When I was in this room, only one visitor could come see me at a time. So I had just finished getting surgery. My, anesthesia, my epidural, everything's kind of like wearing off. I have my baby. They didn't take him away from me. They like had me doing skin to skin. I'm trying to nurse him for the first time because he was most definitely looking to latch. As fast as I put him on me, he was like, where's the titty? Where's the titty? When it was my mom's turn, when she was the second person that saw me, we had an unexpected visitor show up at the hospital. This person did not know what was going on. They were not being necessarily like updated per se. So like in that moment, they didn't really know where I was. Like they didn't know if I was in a procedure room. They didn't know if I was in my recovery room. They didn't know if I even had my C-section yet. I think they did know that I was going to go into a C-section. And this person also came bearing gifts. So I don't know where this person necessarily would have gotten to if my entire family and my husband weren't waiting in the lobby, kind of like there to face and like stop them from continuing any further and getting to me, because a moment of silence for what would have happened if that happened. Also, a moment of silence for my mom not being in the waiting room when this person showed up. We're holding space for the grace of that. But I'm like oblivious. I don't know that this is happening. Obviously people are coming to see my baby. They're not telling me of the drama that's happening out there. Thankfully this person did leave. They were asked to leave. They dropped off their gift, whatever the case was. I went to my actual recovery room, and when I'm there is when my husband just decides to tell me that we had a very unwanted, unexpected visitor show up. In that moment, I didn't really care because I was in a lot of pain, and like I had just given birth. Like I was kind of out of it for like 2 days. I didn't really know what was going on. I was just like, okay. Like it didn't really even bother me that day. Like I kind of was just like, okay. Which is a very non-Sophia answer. And honestly, even after we had a few days to kind of process like how everything happened, the text that he was getting while this was happening, all of that good stuff, kind of realized like, wow, this was actually really fucked up. But again, new camera angle unlocked. My phone was dying, so I had to plug it into the wall. But we're moving forward from all of that, and hopefully in the future, very, very soon future, they won't really know much about us moving forward. And I say they because it is a group of people. I really wish that I could tell you guys all this information in more detail. I just don't know what my husband is comfortable with me sharing, but I would love to talk about it, especially because I am very real on my page. And not only did this affect like my birth experience, but it also impacted my postpartum experience and my pregnancy experience, I think the most out of everything. that was really, really hard for me and for my husband, everything that we had to go through while I was pregnant. I had my son, everything was great. He got his first bath, he got everything, and he was honestly great to go. Like, he had everything great for him. And I was immensely struggling just to get out of bed, to take a shower, just like bending over, doing anything with my abdomen. Like, the pain, it was such a hard process. That's why it really bothers me when people say like, oh, a C-section is like the easy way out. I don't think there is an easy way out. Both ways are pretty terrible and they're both extremely painful. And it honestly has impacted on my decision of whether I want to have another child or not, just because of the fact that I would have to go through like the C-section recovery process again. I'm 10 weeks postpartum now, and I think as of maybe 3 weeks ago, I've started genuinely feeling like myself. And not only emotionally, because I know that I'm not to where I want to be yet emotionally after my pregnancy, but just like my body wise. And not about my weight, not about my looks, just about, I guess, the functionality of my body, like bending, getting up, running, sitting down, everything that basically has to do with my abdomen. I think I just finally started like getting confident in using it again like 3 weeks ago. But if you're pregnant, planning on getting pregnant, you want to be a mom in the future, trust me, do not let this video scare you. Everybody's body is different, every hospital is different, everyone's experience is different, every OB is different. So everyone's story is just so different. So while this was mine, it doesn't mean that it has to be yours, and it doesn't mean that this has to be mine in the future as well. I personally love making videos like these, so if you guys want more of a ranting, chatty vlog, just let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you liked.